Yo, what is up? So in this tutorial, I wanted to go over just making a simple main menu. So yeah, this is what we're gonna do. We're just gonna make a level. You can start the level and we'll make the buttons and throw your logo in, add some sounds to the buttons for hovered and clicked. And yeah, let's just get started. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make you a main menu level. I just migrated one of the levels over from the game that I'm working on, so I'm just going to do that. But if you want to make a new level, you can come up here and create a new level and just name it whatever you want, main menu or whatever. But I'm just going to hop into mine right here. I'm just going to use this guy. Alright, so first thing we're going to do when we get into our level, our main menu level, is we're going to go to our, wherever your blueprint folder is, we're going to make a new game mode and we're going to make a new controller for our main menu level. So we're going to right click down here, we're going to go to blueprint class. First thing is going to be game mode base, we're going to create that. And I'm going to call this BP underscore main menu GM for game mode. And then I'm going to right click and we're going to go to blueprint class. We're going to make a player controller and I'm going to call this a BP underscore main menu controller, like that. And over here in the world settings, we're going to set our game mode. If you don't see this, you can come up here to Windows and click on world settings. But yeah, over here we're going to find our let's see, right here, game mode override. And we're just going to choose our BP main menu GM right here. And that's all we need to do there. And we're going to go into our BP main menu game mode right here. And on some of the settings over here, if you look to the right, we've got all these classes that we could choose. So for our player controller class, we're just going to choose our BP main menu controller. And that's it. And it does come with a default pawn class. I'm just going to set this to none for now. And that's all we need to do in here. So now, if you had like a third-person character or something set up, it would choose that. But if we press play now, it just goes to, you know, this kind of a screen. So, yeah. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a widget. So go to your folder, go to blueprints, and if you don't have a folder for widgets yet, just right click, make a new folder for widgets. I already have one though, so I'm just going to go in here and use this folder. And in my widgets folder, I'm going to make a new folder called main menu. I'm going to open this guy up and I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to user interface. I'm going to go to widget blueprint and user widget, and I'm going to call this WBP underscore main menu. And I'm just going to open this guy up and create a canvas panel. Just throw this guy down here, compile, save, close this guy, and I'm just going to duplicate this guy. I'm going to call this one main menu buttons. And I'm going to open this guy up, and all we need to do in here, first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a size box. And I'm going to throw this guy on the canvas panel. I'm going to click on the size box, and I'm going to anchor this guy to the bottom. And right here on positions, I'm just going to hit the back arrow so it goes down to the position. And we also, on alignment, want to set this to 0.5 and 0.5. And we're going to do a width and height change here. I'm just going to change the width. It's not going to do anything right now because we need to click this, size the content. Click that. You can now change the size of it. Just going to make it something like that for now. And I'm going to move the position Y. I'm just going to move this guy up a bit like that. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get a vertical box. And we're just going to throw this vertical box onto our size box right here. Throw this guy on here, and what a vertical box does is anything that you put inside of it, it'll stack vertically. So we're gonna put our buttons in here, and they're all gonna stack on top of each other. So that's what we're gonna do next. We're gonna find a button, and I'm just gonna throw this guy onto the vertical box, and you can see it. It goes to the very top and aligns to there. But I'm gonna add some padding to this of about 8. And now that we can see what our button is going to look like, I'm going to tweak what our size box looks like, and I'm going to make the width a little bit smaller. And also something you could do with your button is you could right click on it and you can wrap this guy with another size box. If you don't like the height of it, say, you go over here to the height and you can make the height a little bit thicker if that's what you want. So that's what I'm going to do here. And so on our button, we're going to rename this to our new game button. And I'm going to change the background color. I'll just choose like a red, dark red for now. And so something else you might get annoyed with buttons is if you go down to the, where is it? Style? So yeah. If you go to style, on each of your normal, hovered, pressed, and disabled, we have these outline settings. So if you look, you can see it automatically puts an outline around your button, and I think that's really annoying to me personally. So I'm just going to go to outline settings, and I'm going to set the width to 0. And it just about gets rid of it, but it still kind of has somewhat of an outline. So you can click on the color here. Set the alpha way down, set the color to black. And that'll pretty much get rid of it. I don't know why Unreal Engine decides to just automatically put an outline around your button. I feel like that's kind of it's a really annoying decision because I always turn the outline off. But yeah. But you could leave it and you could change the color of the outline if you wanted to and, you know, make it pop a little bit more. So just to show you that. So we change the outline to show again and leave it as a black outline. You might like that better. For now, I'm just going to leave it how it is. So, after that, you can, if you want the same outline on all your normal, hovered, and pressed, you can just go to your outline settings here, and you can copy this and just paste it onto your other outline settings. That way it stays the same on all your different actions over it. So, next thing we're going to do is we're going to search for text, and I'm just going to drag this guy onto the new game button. And here in the text box, I'm going to type new game. And you can choose fonts right here if you want to. We have a few different fonts. You can also bring in fonts if you want to. For now, I'm just going to I'll just use this guy. You can also outline your text here. I'm going to set it to an outline of 1. So that way you can see it a little bit better. Also, something you could do on your button is if you go to style again, you see we have this press sound and hovered sound. So you could choose the sound that it makes when you hover over it and when you press it. So we're going to do that now, but I'm going to bring a pack in for that. Let's see. Yeah, I'll just use these that I have here. So I'll choose this guy for my hovered. Put that guy on hovered. And I'll choose this guy right here for my pressed. So whenever I hover and press it, it will, it'll make that sound. So that's all we need to do for that. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go to our size box, and I'm just going to duplicate this guy. Right click on it, duplicate. I'm going to rename this one to load game button. Load game button. Go down to the text. Rename this to load game. Then I'm going to go back up to the size box, duplicate it again. And we're going to make this our options button. So we just rename this guy to options. Oh, I spelled that all wonky. There we go. Let's go down to the text. We'll make it say options, like that. And I'm gonna go back to the size box, duplicate this one again, and we will make this one our credits button. So just rename this guy to credits. And I'm gonna go to the text, type in credits. And I'm just gonna duplicate this guy one more time, and I'm gonna rename this one to our quit button. So just rename this guy. It's gonna be quit, and I'll go to the text and type in quit. Alright, so that's pretty much all we need for our buttons, but you know, I just want to show you real quick. So like right now, say you make all your buttons and you're like, I don't really like the way that color turned out. What you can do is on your button where you set your color, you can just, you know, tweak it. I'm gonna make this guy a little bit darker, and you can just come here to background color, copy it, and then, you know, just go on to each of your other buttons and just paste that guy in. You can make easy tweaks that way. So anything on your menus, like say you make some changes in the style on any of your buttons, and you decide you want them to all have it, you could go up to the whole entire style and copy it, and then paste it onto your other buttons. Just a quick little note on doing things like that, speed up workflows. But I'm going to continue pasting this color onto these other buttons, like that. So yeah, that should be good for us for now. So we can close this guy. We're actually done with this for now. So we're going to go back to our blueprints, widgets, and we're going to go back to our main menu widget, and we're going to add that widget to this. So I'm going to look for main widget blueprint main menu buttons and drop this on our canvas panel. We're going to click on this guy, go to size the content, and it'll size to it. And then I'm going to anchor this guy to the bottom, and I'm just going to hit the back arrows so it goes to it. And on alignment, we're going to set this to 0.5 and 0.5. And you see here, this is kind of sized really big, and that's because if you go into our button, you can see on our buttons we have this big chunk of space that we're not using. So that's because our original size box, we kind of sized it to what we thought it would be, but now we see we don't need that much space. So I'm just going to go to our top size box. I'm just going to shrink this guy down and compile and save, and we go back to our main menu, and we may need to reload it in. So let's just delete this guy and pull it back in, and now we can click the size the content. And actually, let's see, it's still showing a real chunk of space. Let's anchor this guy to the center. It might be something like that. Let's anchor that guy to the center. Yes, that's what it was. So if you're making like a widget that you're just going to be adding onto, like, say something like a master widget, like what we're doing right here, like we're making our buttons separately and then we're adding this to a widget and then putting it, placing it where we want it in the actual main widget. Yeah, just anchor everything to the center, because you could get some weird things like what was just happening there. So now we're going to anchor this guy to the bottom, pull this guy down, and we're going to set the alignment to 0.5 and 0.5, and I'm going to set the position Y. I'm going to set this guy up a bit. We'll pull it up a little bit more, about right there. Compile and save. And next thing we're going to do is we're going to add like a logo up here. So I'm just going to add the logo for my game in here. So I'm going to look for an image. I'm going to drop this guy down onto the canvas panel, and I'm going to bring in my image. So I'm just going to go into my first person folders. I have a folder for textures. I'm just going to bring this guy into here. So let me just find it. So I'm just going to pull this logo into here, drag and drop it in. I'm going to click on that guy. And on our image here, I'm just going to go to brush, set that guy down, and I'm going to size to content. And I'm going to anchor this guy to the center and hit the back arrows and set the alignment to 0.5 and 0.5. And I'm just going to position this guy up just a little bit like that. You can see we have a logo. And yeah, that's pretty much all we really need to do for this widget for now. In the next video, we may go over some functionalities, like actually starting a game, loading a game. Well, loading a game, we need a save system and stuff. So we may go over this in the future if y'all want me to go over that. We may do some videos on the options menu or a credits menu, but we can easily do new game and quit game. But if y'all want some of these other details, just let me know in the comments, and I'll make some videos on, you know, making save system, option menus, and credit menus. But yeah, for now, this is good. So we can close this, but if we press play, you can see we just, you know, it's not going to do anything. So we need to make it do some things. So in your level blueprint, we're going to go up here. We're going to click on this guy. We're going to open level blueprint. And I already have some stuff in here. Just ignore this. It's not important. It's from my game. Alright, so first thing we're going to do in here is we're going to create widgets. You can make a sequence node. I like to do these in sequences. You can press S on your keyboard and click and just pull this guy in. I like to do sequences so we can kind of separate what each step is going to be doing. So in the class here, we're going to look for our main widget blueprint main menu. We're also going to promote this guy to a variable called main menu ref. And I'm going to pull off this guy and add to viewport right here. Like that. And the next thing we're going to do, actually, we can go and see that now. If we go in and look, we could see that we have the main menu and the buttons showing up. So that's good for now. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a camera to position where we're going to be looking in the world. So I'm just going to come up here to classes and search for sign camera actor and pull this guy in. And if you want to see what exactly the camera is seeing a little bit better than the small menu, you can come down here and choose your camera. And typically when you bring in a sign camera, it has this really annoying setting called a constraint aspect ratio. Just untick that guy and you'll get rid of the black bars on the side. So yeah, we're gonna do that. I'm also gonna set the current focal length to be 18, so it's not super zoomed in. And I'm just gonna position it to about right here, and that should be good. So now I'm just going to go back into the level blueprint, and if you want to move, not control your camera anymore, click this eject thing right here, and then you can click on your camera actor here, and then go back into the level blueprint, and we're going to right click, and we're going to create a reference from sign camera actor. So this gets a reference to that camera that's in the world. You can only do it this way in the level blueprint. If you want to get a reference to something like that any other way, you're gonna have to, like, you know, cast or something, you know, any other method of getting it. But in the level blueprint, you can just click on the actor in the level and right click and just immediately get a reference to it. So for here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna right click and get player controller, and we're gonna set view target with blend. And what this is going to do is this is going to set what our screen is looking at to be looking at this camera that we placed in the world. So if we plug this guy in right here, we can do that. And you can change the blend time, but typically on a main menu, you're just going to want to immediately go to that camera. So I'm just going to leave this guy to 0. But if you change this number, it'll like slowly lerp to it, you know, it'll blend into looking at that camera. Really good for like transitional cinematics and stuff, but for now we're just going to leave it how it is, like here. So if we go back into the world and look now, you can see we are looking directly at what that camera was showing. And yeah. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is we're going to duplicate our get player controller, and we're going to pull off of this, and we're going to set show mouse cursor. And we're going to take this guy to be true so that, you know, if you're doing mouse and keyboard, you can just click on the buttons. So now, after that, we're going to also duplicate this player controller, and we're going to set game mode to game and UI. And I'm just going to plug this guy in right here. And in widget to focus, we're going to use our main menu ref. Just plug that guy in right there. And if you go in now and press play, you can see we now have our mouse cursor that works. But if you notice here, so we added this big logo in, and for some reason when we hover over our new load and options button, they don't work, but our credits and quit button works. And that is, I will show you why. So if we go back into our first person blueprint widgets and go to our widget blueprint main menu. So if we click on our logo here, if you go down here and look for the visibility, right now it's set to visible. So whenever you do this, it's kind of like collision. It'll, you know, if it's covering something, you can see right here, the big square is covering all of those buttons that weren't working. We just want to change this to not hit testable. You could choose self and children or self only. This doesn't have any children, so we're just going to choose self only. Compile and save. And if you go back in and look, all of these buttons will work now. So after that, the only thing we need to do is if you want to add some music, I'm just going to bring in some sounds that I already have. So if you have a folder for audio, just throw it in there. If you don't have one, make a folder for some of your sounds. I already have one in here, so I'm just gonna go into that and make a new folder in here called music. And I'm gonna go into this guy, and I'm gonna bring in this guy right here. And I'm just gonna open this guy and make it a little bit quieter so it's not super overpowering. So all we want to do now is go into our level blueprint, and we're going to right click and we're going to play sound to D and add a pin onto the sequence. We're going to plug this guy in, and I'm just going to click on this sound and click the arrow right here so that it will play this sound. Also, if you want to make sure that the sound loops, you can come in here and tick looping. Without this ticked, it'll play the song once and then it'll just never play again. So, tick looping on that. And yeah, so now if we go in, we press play, and we look, we have a pretty basic main menu. Got buttons, and yeah, if you guys want, we can, you know, we can go over the button functionalities in another video if you want to, like the new game, load game, options, credits, quit game. But for now, this will get you a basic setup and get you, you know, on your way with making a main menu. So, that's all we're going to do for this one. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you're new around here, definitely subscribe. If you have any questions, let me know those down in the comments. If you have any other suggestions for tutorials you want to see, also let me know those down in the comments. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.